Good evening and welcome to the CASAA update for the week of 2/1/2016. Hi, Alex. What's new and exciting this week?
How you doing?
Good. I'm good.
All kinds of things are new and possibly exciting. Um, so since we last spoke, CASAA has released a few calls to action.
Just a few?
Just a few. Actually, no, literally just a few.
Okay.
There seems like there's stuff kind of piling up and waiting to be dealt with. Obviously, there
Okay.
are lots of bills that we're monitoring, and I'm getting emails from people a little bit more regularly. Hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see that? Which is great. Thank you for
Yeah.
sending those. We, no matter how hard we try, things slip through the cracks. So it's great that people are paying attention. Um,
hmm
but let's see. And of course, I'm often like doing a couple of other things at the same time here, so I don't have all of this stuff loaded up and in front of me.
Well,
Um, but fortunately, we have this handy website. So let's see. Oh, did I even do a call to action for that? There's a few here's what happened at the end of the week.
okay.
New Mexico is looking at a pair of tax bills,
Okay.
and um, it's really this is what's confusing me here. So I don't think we actually published. It's not on our blog. I feel like I did spend an awful amount of time on New Mexico at the
Right.
end of the week. I'm gonna bring this up just so I can confirm that I'm not going crazy
Okay.
as soon as my mouse decides to cooperate. Um, okay, New Mexico SB77, and that sure does look like a full-blown call to action. Um, can you still hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Okay, cool. So Senate Bill 77, this would enact a 66% excise tax on tobacco products. And of course, uh, they would be redefining tobacco products to include e-cigarettes. This is a lot more reasonable than the other bill. I believe that was SB4, or maybe I'm getting that mixed up with the amount of money they want to impose. Um,
Well, I
am
mean,
I am I
yeah,
still
yeah.
here?
Yeah, you're still here. You're still
Okay,
here.
cool.
I'm listening.
For some reason, it keeps dropping out, and normally I can hear the background noise, but it keeps going away.
I
Um,
was typing, sorry. So I
oh,
muted. Sorry.
well done. um, so the other New Mexico bill, yes, it is SB4. SB4 would enact a 4 cent per milligram of nicotine tax on e-liquid.
Holy crap.
Just to give you some numbers, if you are at 18 milligrams and you buy a 30 milliliter bottle, the additional tax on that bottle would be $21.60.
Jesus.
Uh,
That's
buy one,
steep.
pay for two. Yeah,
That's steep.
that is not a deal that you'll see on the coupon clipper. Um,
Nope.
so yeah, and this is New Mexico too. Their legislative session runs for like 30 days this year. So these bills kind of came on and got pulled off of the agenda
hmm
for two different committee hearings last week. Um, the 4 cents per milligram of nicotine bill was a bill that got that's an outrageous tax, by the
Yeah.
way, under anybody's uh, under any circumstances. So that bill, a similar language was defeated last year. We're not really all that concerned about it, but despite the lessons learned in places like Washington State, who had a similar per milligram
hmm
type of tax. And then, once they realized just how ridiculous that was, that quickly got changed. still people are introducing bills like that. So, and of course, I don't know if it's just sort of a way to make a 66% excise tax seem more reasonable. But
Maybe.
so that's that. Anyway, yeah. So that happened at Thursday, Friday last week,
Okay.
and again, we're in this is the lightning round. It's one of the lightning round states, so things are going to move pretty quickly.
Yep.
And so we're monitoring that. And anybody, I think we opened that up to the entire state. I don't know why it's not on our website. I'll have to fix this.
Okay.
But yeah, New Mexico. I will take care of that.
Okay.
So that was New Mexico. The other one, Oregon. Oregon is looking at a hearing on Wednesday, February 3rd. That's this Wednesday. And this is HB 4062. It would enact a 50% tax on the retail price of vapor products. So that's all consumers get to pay for that one. Again, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to sit here and try to work out the math on that one.
Yeah.
And we have this set up so that if you live in a district represented by someone on the committee, we're asking you to send an email, please.
Right.
This is the first hearing for this bill. This is the first step in the process, or technically, I think the second or third step, but there are other opportunities to engage. So if it gets much further and the threat becomes more apparent, we will likely open this up to the rest of the state. But for now, we're trying to be nice. This is our strategy right now. Raise a little bit of awareness, get people in the districts engaged, and let the lawmakers know that this is a bad idea, and give them an opportunity, really, to do the right thing. I don't know how well that strategy works all over the world, but we're giving it a shot here.
Yeah.
And we have Vermont is looking at an indoor vaping ban. This would include H171 would include vaping in Vermont's workplace smoking prohibition, otherwise indoor clean air law, whatever you want to call it. And I did actually make a mistake on this call to action, and I have yet to correct it. I'm actually not terribly motivated to correct it, but there was some differing of opinion as to whether or not the public was actually going to be allowed to present testimony at this hearing. I believe you're welcome to attend, but there is no indication that they're accepting comments from the public at this time. It's probably one of those things where they may be discussing the bill, they may be work sessioning it, whatever, but they're just not ready for public comment. So that's that. You're still, I think, welcome to contact the committee assistant for information about when to expect the hearing to happen. There's no hard and fast time here. It's just 15 minutes after the floor adjourns in the afternoon. So that, yeah, I mean, certainly you can call this person and say, hey, when do you think that's going to be? I don't know if that's going to be helpful. And who knows if a bunch of people are calling the committee assistant saying, I really need to show up and share what my experience has been. Maybe that in itself sends a message to the committee that, hey, we need to rethink this. So I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there as a suggestion. That's not actually what our call to action is about. At the moment, we're just asking people to send a message to the committee.
Right.
So if you live in Vermont, and this is different than the other two that I mentioned, this is open to the entire state of Vermont. We don't have a very big presence in Vermont.
Right.
So it would be great if everybody who likes vaping in the state of Vermont took action and participated and get themselves entered into our email list so that we can alert you as this bill progresses and potentially other threats.
Yeah.
I did just have my coffee, so if I sound really awake right now, I
You
feel
sound more
really
awake
awake.
than I feel.
Ah, so we got Vermont, we got Oregon, um, the Alameda County Board of Supervisors are back in the news. Um,
Nice.
uh, Supervisor Nate Miley, again, has reached out through his staff. One of his staff, Bob Swanson, has been. He is, a vaping success story himself. Was a smoker for a long time and switched to vaping. And I think he has done a lot to educate Supervisor Miley on the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good that we somewhat have an ally out there in Alameda, and they are looking at a an ordinance. This meeting is tomorrow. Um, uh, it's at 10:45 Pacific. Um, they're looking at an ordinance. It's a tobacco retailer licensing ordinance,
Mm-hmm.
and the language actually says the unincorporated areas of Alameda County.
Okay.
So tobacco retailers, vapor shops, and so on would be required to get a tobacco retail license issued by the county, and this, of course, is an effort to keep them in compliance with age restrictions and so on.
Right.
But the argument here is that it's not fair to include vapor retail shops in this tobacco licensing scheme.
Right.
There is, I believe, I haven't seen the language for it, but I believe there is a competing ordinance that would make a separate category for licensing vapor
Okay.
retail shops.
Mm-hmm.
So if you live in Alameda County, please check out our call to action. You should have received an email from us this weekend, but you can check that out on our local alerts section. Whew. Getting busy.
Yeah, it is. Yep. This is why you actually have the job title, Poor Alex.
That's not what it said on the contract, but
I know. I know. That's what we call you privately.
Yep. So what's coming up this week?
Oh, God.
I'm not going to give away any details because I don't think we're ready for it. I'm not trying to be cryptic. I just got this through kind of our working group channels.
Okay.
Everybody pay attention to Utah. There's things generally happening there every year.
Oh, yeah.
But this week in particular, by the end of the week, there should be some news out of Utah.
Okay.
The other thing to bring up, I am actually working on a newsletter that we hope to have out this week. It might take a little bit more time. We're refining some things.
Right.
But since this is the beginning of the month, maybe this is a good time to mention a couple of the places that CASAA is going to be. Julie and I think Brian Carter might be coming, I'm not sure, to Vape In The Sun in Phoenix, Arizona. That's the event being put on by Will Cohen from
Okay.
VapeFest. I believe generally this is a fundraiser for VapeFest.
Mm-hmm.
I believe VapeFest is the vaping community's only nonprofit organization, and
Probably.
they do a wonderful job and for a very wonderful cause.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're actually very proud to be a part of Vape In The Sun.
Yeah.
And it's in Phoenix, Arizona. So it won't be, for me, it won't be, the Northeast, which is actually was quite nice today, but who knows? It's February. It could get cold and miserable pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then in the next week after that, that's the 19th. Is that actually the 19th or is it the 20th and 21st of February?
Okay.
I know that I'm going to be there on the 19th. So the 20th and 21st of February. And the week after that, we are going to VapeFest in Las Vegas.
Okay.
That is the annual event put on by the National Vapors Club. And there's one more thing, actually. Oh, wait,
That's you and Julie, right?
Yeah, Julie and I are going. Again, I'm not sure if Brian is coming out. Brian Carter is. I'm going to mess up his title. He's our scientific communications officer. Is that the right title?
He's one of our science people.
Yeah.
Not Carl, but he's one of our science people, who's also very, very intelligent. We're very lucky to have him. I don't know about job titles. I gave you the job title of poor Alex.
Yeah. So not putting that on the business card, but that's accurate. So yeah, Brian Carter has been a very valuable member of our board, and is a very nice guy, and will likely be traveling to some of these events as well. So if you happen to be in Phoenix, Arizona, or Las Vegas the last 2 weeks of February, please stop by and say hi, and yeah, that'll be great.
Awesome. Hey, sounds like you're going to get to go to some nice warm places.
Yeah, in February. I have family in Las Vegas, so I'm actually going to turn that into an extended stay and visit. So that'll be good.
Yeah. That's cool.
So I think that's it. I know that there was an issue in Rhode Island that I was looking at. I know that some of the Rhode Island vapors have kind of gotten their own thing going. There is, I don't know how far this bill is actually going to go. So it's kind of hard to gauge just how threatening things are. But this is, I'm bringing this up because it's a good example of the craziness that's out there. It's Senate Bill 2107, and it is a, I guess, in my list, I have it, the parenthetical is propaganda. So this bill would require tobacco retailers to display signs that say, it's the typical stuff about smoking, warning, smoking does all these horrible things to you, but it adds in, and electronic cigarettes. So if
it's disingenuous.
It's a bald lie. If you read the sign, it says, warning, smoking cigarettes and electronic cigarettes contributes to lung disease, cancer, heart disease, stroke, and respiratory illness, and during pregnancy may result in low birth weight and premature birth.
I don't know about the second one. I really don't know about the first one, but I'm going on 7 years vaping, and my health's never been better. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
I think they might be a tad bit freaking wrong.
Yeah, I don't recall any definitive studies, anything really, that is saying that that vaping will give you lung cancer, any of this stuff. I don't think advising pregnant women to use electronic cigarettes is the best course of action. And I'm sure there would be similar warnings about nicotine replacement therapies. I think that doctors normally just recommend you quit altogether when you are pregnant. I am not a doctor, so we're not going to go down that path. But the rest of this bill, and this is something that we're seeing, this is another one of those examples of, just sort of indiscriminately folding vapor products into existing tobacco laws or smoking laws, is that this requires another part of the sign to direct people to stop smoking services or information. And specifically, you would have to provide information about the health impact of electronic nicotine delivery systems, and direct people towards the resources available for those who would like to quit vaping.
What resources are available for people who want to quit vaping? And I know a couple of people who've stopped, just given away all their stuff and kind of faded away out of the community. And you know what resources they used? One day I woke up and I didn't feel like vaping anymore, so I'm selling off my gear.
Yeah, it's sort of one of those if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like if vaping was what you use to quit smoking,
Yeah.
then I mean, vaping is probably what you're going to use to stop vaping.
Vaping,
I
exactly.
mean, you've gained back that control over consuming nicotine, more of as a choice
Yeah.
than as something you feel an intense craving that you can't really avoid. I did see how maybe inelegantly I danced around not using the word addiction there.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I don't think it applies, but I mean, I think that bill in Rhode Island's actually really dangerous. That's completely
Absolutely.
dangerous. That's almost as bad as like the Alaska thing and the California thing that their departments of health have put out. I mean, that is almost as bad.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
oh
there
God.
was some bills in Texas that we were sort of grappling with last year. It's been a frequent thing, and it's a hard issue to tackle.
Hmm.
Um, it, I don't. Yeah, it's one of those complicated language things, and
Yeah.
so anyway, and I think that legislatures actually may be recognizing that these are kind of absurd. And another point to bring up is maybe I shouldn't because I don't know if I'm going to articulate it in a very good way in 5 minutes, but things like this, statements like this, I think
Right.
it erodes the public's trust in public health. I mean, you're saying something that is
Yeah.
actually ridiculous.
Well, it's not even ridiculous. A lot of this is outright lies.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it does. It erodes the public's trust, not only in public health, but it erodes the public's trust in their scientists
yeah.
and their doctors. That's that's the best thing I can say about this bill. And the best thing I can say about the courses that I think some of these legislators have taken. Um, they're hurting people. They're actually going to hurt people with this.
I'm actually kind of excited that we got all of that out
Yeah.
in under 2 minutes. So there
Yeah.
you go.
No, that was good.
Good.
Is
Awesome.
is mhm.
Yeah. So for the moment, for the time being, that's all I have for this week.
Okay.
And I expect a little bit more excitement towards the end of the week.
Oh boy.
And so, yeah, we'll check back in next Monday and see how awesome things got.
All right. Thank you for everything you do for us, Alex, and have a nice night. And I will try to stop calling you poor Alex.
It's all right.
Good night. Thanks.
Good night.
Bye. See you next week.
Yep.